So I'm sitting here with my friend Drake Massa, who is a junior at the University of North Carolina, Wilmington. And for a forum, I have the Aerospace Executive Podcast, which is really a business podcast. Some people may say, "Hey, why are we interviewing a junior in college who doesn't know a whole lot about business?" And I think the answer is I'm really excited about the next generation that's coming up behind all of us. So, hey, Drake, how are you?
I'm doing well. I can't complain. It's a Friday.
It's Friday. It's all day. The sun's shining, so it's all good. But so when I first met you,
Yes, sir.
You told me a story that you and your brother had.
Mhm.
You started a business when you were 15 years old?
Yeah, my brother was 15. I was probably 12. It started with me. I went to my neighbor's yard, and she had a gorgeous property, and I wanted a way to help start pay for my baseball, and my brother wanted a way to buy a truck. So he approached my dad, and he said, "Hey, I want a car. What are you going to get me?" And he just started laughing at him. He said, "What are you going to buy?" is what he basically said. So my brother and I, we kind of started going around to neighbors and trying to find ways to start making some money. So I went to my neighbor, Miss Cheryl, and I picked up her pine cone, and she gave me like $20. And my brother found a pretty cool niche through his best friend at the time, and still best friend, about mulch. And so that was kind of something that we really started going after. And so we kind of started a landscape business, and he kind of went after anything and everything to make money. And I kind of just saw it through the years. And when he went off to college, I bought all of his assets and took over and went from there.
What was the goal? What was your goal when you guys said your goal was to start a truck?
Mm-hmm. Our goal was to buy a truck and help pay for baseball, because baseball is expensive and trucks are expensive.
And then what did your goal morph into?
Yeah, it turned into every year basically just doing better than the previous. And then this last year I hit 100,000 in total sales since we started. So it was a pretty cool accomplishment. I was driving back from we did the business in North Atlanta in Roswell, Georgia. And I was driving back one day over the summer, and I just started looking over my Excel spreadsheet of all the years of my accounting for it, or whatever you want to call it. And I was like, holy cow, I just surpassed $100,000. And it was pretty cool.
Yeah. And you're what, 20 years old?
I'm turning 22 in March, so 21.
So 21 years old. You started a little business. You made $100,000, enough to buy your truck and pay for college.
Got my truck paid for in the parking lot.
That's got to be a pretty proud accomplishment.
It is. I am pretty proud of it. I never really thought much of it until I kind of really started listening to people spending. The average car payment in America is $455 a month. So I was like, oh my gosh, I couldn't imagine. I mean, paying $500 a month just to drive a car like that's. So I learned a lot of good, valuable lessons, and saving up to buy a car in cash was definitely one of the big ones.
So where did you learn? So you got the entrepreneurial spirit. You figured out how to make some money. Mm-hmm. Where did all that come from?
Yeah, I'm really thankful just for the opportunities my parents taught me. My dad always did these things he would call life lessons. And it started out when I was a young kid, and that first little job I talked about, I got 20 or whatever it was dollars. And I came home as a 12-year-old all proud. And he was like, awesome, made $20, give me 10 for taxes. And that's kind of how he taught me about taxes. And I was like, well, this sucks. I mean, I don't want to do this. And he eventually gave the money back. But at the time I was like, okay, there's a life lesson. What you make, you have to help contribute. And then down the road, it was help contribute, buy for the family lunch one day when I closed a big sale for one of my jobs. We were at Chick-fil-A the next afternoon. He was like, Drake, you're up to buy. You just made a big sale or whatever. And then moved on to the truck, was buying a truck and XYZ. Just a lot of good, just valuable life lessons that really helped shape me into who I am. And
so Dad's a hardworking guy?
Very hardworking guy. He's one of the harder working people I know. Just everything he does, he would always be up before I would even think about getting up, and he would always be in the computer working when we're in bed. But he also would find ways to always be there. He not always, but as much as he can. And it was always pretty cool that he would make as many events as he could. But I also saw that he worked his butt off 24/7, which was pretty cool as well.
So a lot of parental influence. Guy, your dad works hard. Mm-hmm. He instills that on you.
Mm-hmm. My mom as well.
You're working hard. You paying for your own. How much you contributing to your own college?
Yes, the way we did it was my parents had XYZ set out for me, and then basically when that ran up, it was all me. So it kind of I found a lot of ways to get awesome scholarships once I was in school by just asking the asking the financial aid office if they can find money for a completely independent college student. When I moved out way after I graduated, the way our family works is when you're 18 and you're kind of a man and you're off on your own. So of course it would help me out here and then, but I was independent. So I'm a resident here now, and I pretty much pay for all the schooling by myself essentially. And it's pretty cool.
Yeah, be proud of that.
I'm very proud of it. So yeah, he helped me out a little bit this last semester, and he sent me a text the other day saying that, hey, between you and myself are all paid for. So I was like, yeah, it's pretty cool.
So that he really did pay back the taxes.
Yeah, he helps out. So it was pretty cool. My brother just graduated last December with his master's from upstate, and his goal was, when he was going to college, was to graduate debt free. And that's my goal as well. And I spoke with him about it the other day. He's like, yeah, I did it debt free. And of course he worked his butt off to do it, and it was a pretty cool goal. He's kind of taking initiative, and I'm trying as well to kind of prevent the big problem we have, which is that huge national college debt.
Yeah, no, it drives me nuts. I mean, the kids are getting themselves $80,000, $100,000, $150,000 in debt, and coming out of college with this huge burden on them around there.
And a lot of times in a degree that is relatively pointless.
So what do you study?
Yeah, so I'm a double concentration. So overall, it's a business administration with a concentration in finance and marketing sales right now. Those are the two concentrations I'm going for. But the second one's up in the air. I've considered a few others, but I'm pretty positive those are the two I'm sticking with.
And you're working now, you're going to school. You're going to school full time?
Correct. I'm a full-time student.
Full load. And then you've got
essentially a full-time job as well. In February, one of the life lessons my dad taught me just growing up was, if you want something, reach out to the person professionally and go through that way. And so I reached out to probably 20 construction companies in the Wilmington area, and I basically reach out to their head project manager or the head guy of the company and just ask for a chance to talk to them about the business. And because that's one of the two careers I'm interested in going in, and just an opportunity just to learn from how they started and XYZ. So the company I work for, I asked them out to coffee, and they spoke with them for about 2 hours, and they gave me a chance to work with them. So they just told me I'm now a project manager with them. So
manager doing what?
All operations in the residential part. So the main project manager is Levi, and he's 23. This is his fourth year doing it. And basically he kind of told me I'm going to be leading more of the residential, so more of this, our spec houses and stuff like that. So all aspects of it.
You're building custom homes?
Correct. We're doing that as well. So that's where I'm in charge of helping setting up the scheduling and budgeting and designing and XYZ and getting it all worked out.
How many hours a week are you doing that?
Anywhere from 20 to 30, depending on availability. I take 18 hours at the university as well. And then I, on the side, try to do a little carpentry type projects that I'm trying to eventually start into a fun little side hustle of selling twin size porch swings and little coffee tables and stuff like that I've found a little success with over a couple of years selling them.
So wait a minute, you're taking 18 hours of school,
yes,
which
sir.
is about the maximum you can take.
That is the maximum.
Maximum you can take without dean's approval.
Mm-hmm.
You work at 20 to 30 hours a week on essentially almost a full-time job.
Yes, sir.
You're doing your homework. What kind of grades you making?
Every semester I have improved. This last semester I got a 3.3, and I'm hoping to hit a 3.5 this semester. That's my goal. So my cumulative GPA is
AB.
Yeah, AB. Yeah, correct.
So getting A's and B's.
More A's than B. Yes, sir. Is the goal.
And doing it all. Mm-hmm. So what are you telling your other students about? What are you teaching your other brethren about keeping it all together and the business?
Yeah,
and the business side of it.
That's why I'm kind of thankful that I'm not the first child. I'm the second, because my brother did it all. He was even more impressive than I was. He graduated a semester early and straight into the business master's program, and graduated that early. And he worked just as much, if not more. So I always just kind of view it as there's always someone out doing it a little bit better. So it's just kind of motivating.
Where's your brother working now?
My brother's a merchandising buyer with Walmart. So he moved out there and February 1st, I think he started. So he's working that right now. And the goal is to become a buyer in the coming years. So I think he just received a new role doing basically the finance part of the buying aspect. So more planning and stuff like that. So I visited him in June and kind of saw the whole facilities in Walmart and all that was. And it was pretty cool seeing how the largest company in the world operates and how they treat everyone. And it really changed my whole perception of Walmart.
In what way?
So I always kind of just viewed Walmart kind of, I don't know, it's just kind of there. And then next thing I know, I just saw how they really do care about the customers, and everything they do is they're really trying to help, create low prices for the customers and be the best they can, and just kind of following what Mr. Sam would do and everything that they would just try to really help the customers. For instance, I was walking around the shop and their stores, and they were just so friendly, so helpful. And it really just kind of changed my view on how Walmart is, and it was just kind of neat.
Yeah, look, I think that every time a politician criticizes Walmart, they forget about all the brain power that's behind the scenes that they don't see, with the transportation and the trucking, and the logistics and the buyers, and it's easy to criticize when you're not there, when you're not in the game. So you did something. You just talked about something when you went to go get your job.
Yes, sir.
You stepped out of your comfort zone, and how did you get your job?
Yeah. So it started out originally. I would reach out. I'd show up on their doorstep basically with my resume, and I had my landscape company on my resume and the little construction projects I've done. And my dad worked for DeWalt and Stanley Black & Decker for a good amount of time. So I always had tools around the house, and we were always just fixing stuff and building stuff. So I've always had a passion for that. So I'd reach out to places and want to learn just how the building process worked. So I'd show up to the larger companies. I'm like, hey, here's me. It's what I want to do, and how can you help me? And then a lot of them, probably 95% of them, basically told me just they're not looking and leave, essentially. And so I'd found more success when I reached out to people and asked to talk to them about the business, opposed to asking for an opportunity of a job. So I reached out to the people at Elm Builders, and I said, hey, I would love a chance to sit over coffee or breakfast or whatever and just talk about what you do. And so that's what they did. So they met me at a coffee shop, and we spoke for 2 hours just about the overall business. And I never asked once for an opportunity to work, and they just asked me for a chance to work. So that was
come on board.
Exactly.
How long have you been doing that?
February 16th is when I lunched with them. And I started the next Monday.
8 months, about 8 months.
Yep.
Now.
8 months. Yes, sir.
You gonna stick with it for a while?
Yeah, I've really enjoyed it so far. I was talking with him the other day about how I've really enjoyed, and they gave me more responsibility, and I've enjoyed it. So yeah.
What's the goal after graduation?
Goal after graduation. That's something that my parents were talking with over this weekend, and I would love to continue doing this type of project management for residential construction. But another thing that it's more of a stretch goal of mine is to be a sports agent, so athletes financial advisor, essentially. That's more of a stretch goal for me. And the more realistic goal is to continue doing what I'm doing with the residential construction and grow that from there. Maybe switch over to a little commercial or XYZ.
So that's the finance degree.
Correct.
That's the finance degree with the sales and marketing.
Correct. Yes, sir. So that's what I would enjoy. That's
pretty cool. UNCW treating you well? Tell me about the business program over there.
The business program, I'm a huge advocate of it. I think the coolest thing they offer is the SIN Mentoring program. It's the Cameron Executive Network is what it stands for. And it's how I actually got to meet you. And I'm very thankful for it. I think it's a real cool opportunity how they match people in the executives in the area with mentors and teach them how to go throughout the process and just kind of be an awesome little helping hand. So I'm really thankful for the business opportunity.
So let's flip the script a little bit.
Okay.
So companies are looking for their next generation of worker.
Yes, sir.
It's going to be a competitive market.
Yes, sir.
What do they need to do what does a company need to do to get the best and brightest out of each of the business programs or out of the universities?
Yeah. From my experience, not if it's a more prestigious school or not, that doesn't correlate to the best type of student.
What attracts you to a company versus you go, no, I don't want to work there?
That's a good question. What attracts me? I think, of course, their culture, who they are, what they're doing, the product they're selling or doing, whatever it is, just how they kind of go about their line of work is, what would attract me to someone. But I'm not too sure.
Have you ever looked at anybody and said, no, have you ever looked at somebody and said, yeah, absolutely, those are the guys I want to be?
Yeah, I
And then,
definitely
yeah,
have.
and then have you looked at other companies and said, no,
Don't want to do, yeah.
Not a prayer?
Yeah, definitely.
What was so good about the company that you wanted to be,
Mhm.
where you wanted to be? What did you like about that?
Just a similar alignment of how I look on stuff and how I perceive them looking on the stuff and how they're doing XYZ to help their business and how stuff that I would want to be a part of and put my name to. That's probably how I would look into companies and how I would want to be a part of that or not. Is just their overall outlook on key topics.
Are they giving you the opportunity? They giving you opportunities, or are they throwing you in a corner and saying, come out when we tell you to?
Yeah, they have a lot of, and through the business school, there are a lot of little opportunities where you can go out and meet different businesses and people come in and career fairs and XYZ. And so, yeah, there's a lot of opportunities just seeing jobs.
What turned you off about some of the companies that
the representation of the person going out sometimes, maybe just how they kind of perceive themselves or how they're looking at students or stuff.
How do you, anybody that really, like, was it hey, I think I'd be bored there by the way they presented themselves? I mean, what are I guess what I'm trying to get, what are kids in college looking for? What do they want to see in a company, and what do they want? What's the core values?
Yeah, I would definitely say the big thing they're looking for is chance where they can work and they feel part of the organization and not just the young guy in the group. Somewhere they can feel free to go out and voice their opinion. And for me, coming from an entrepreneur type of mindset, I would want to have somewhere where I can have more growth oriented. So definitely something like that. Somewhere that you have a chance to move around and feel like you're making a big impact opposed to just the new guy on the block who's just doing the busy paperwork.
Just showing up for a paycheck.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. So making where it feels like there's you're taking a better step forward and you're kind of doing better. And
are people coming to campus with those opportunities to say be a part of something great?
Yeah, I would definitely say so. I personally haven't attended too many of the career fair opportunities so far, just because it never aligned with my schedule for me when it come to them. But yeah, there's definitely a ton of opportunities of people really going out, going to college. And that's how a lot of my friends that are just finished graduating and starting their first real year out that's how they're finding their jobs. And that's how my brother found his opportunity, and a lot of his friends are finding their opportunities. And it's from meeting people and then internships and going through there.
So what's the goal? You got a semester and a half left.
Correct. I have a semester and a half left. I'm going to continue. My goal is every semester do better than the previous. So continue going from there. And then once graduation comes and walk across the line and make the decision if I'm going to keep hanging out and doing what I'm doing locally with the residential construction here, or go find a new other opportunity, or go from there. I haven't really got there yet, so I'm still kind of tossing that one up in the air and juggling it.
You sort of looked after graduation.
I definitely.
What's the goal? What's the goal?
What's the goal? Yeah, I definitely have. I definitely have been looking down the road. There's a lot of opportunities. I was looking last week about opportunities in different sectors of different business opportunities and stuff like that. For instance, I was looking at a big thing my brother told me about was how recently a lot of supply chain is way more useful and way more jobs being looked for. And I've looked at some opportunities in that with internships with pretty large companies and going through there. So I'm kind of tossing that around and trying to figure out this summer what my opportunity will be for either internship or continue to build a project management I'm doing here or go from there. So that's the goal.
Bottom line is you can just continue to grow what you're doing with Elm Builders and keep it going and turn it into a full-time career, right?
Exactly. So yeah, they want me to do more and more and more. So it's just, that's kind of how I'm at right now.
What do you enjoy about the construction side of the house?
I enjoyed not doing the same thing every single day. So I like something new, and I kind of can use a little creativity. And I personally really like seeing you can really make an impact. You can see the impact and you can really expand it. And I feel like that's very applicable in construction. You can really see what you did, and you can see how you can grow it more and more and do more. And that's part of how I would look at it. Starting doing my landscaping, this is kind of 10 times bigger than that in aspects of type of job. And I think that's kind of cool, is taking that and something that I can do and do myself or with, and go from there.
So it sounds to me like you kind of got a little bit of entrepreneurial,
Yeah,
a little bit of entrepreneur in you. Is that
something like that.
good for you? What does a company need to do? Finish it up here. What does a company need to do to attract? I mean, if I'm at UNCW and I say I want the top 10%,
Totally.
what do they got to do?
What they got to do, they definitely need to, show up to try to find those students. Of course, that's the obvious answer. But have open opportunities and just, I'm not sure, reach out to this, try to find who fits your best needs. I think whenever I'm a big advocate, listen to Dave Ramsey, and something that he was on a podcast the other week, and something that he spoke with Ben Shapiro was about this generation, my generation, and hiring. And Dave said it's been the best generation he's ever hired, because there's two people and they stick out really easily if you're a good hard worker or you're not. And so I think it's relatively pretty easy looking about my peers about who's going to be that good hard worker that you want to have a part of your organization and who's not. I think relatively they stick out pretty easily. So just having the face-to-face interaction with the students at whatever it is and find those top 10% is, I'd probably say the best way to hire those top students is
Give them the opportunity.
give them the opportunity, because you'll see pretty easily if they're good or bad just from talking with a lot of them.
Gotcha. Thanks for coming on.
I appreciate it. I had a good time
All right,
doing it.
man. Sounds good.